America's party town on America's party night. New Year's Eve in Vegas. There's no better place to be right here, right now. Hundreds of thousands have packed the Strip, and the lucky ones have an up-close view of the most anticipated event of them all. Tonight at Paris, Las Vegas, with its famed landmarks shining bright, two athletes have arrived ready for their moment. Robbie Madison has been in this spotlight before. He's gone further than anybody. Now he revs up to go higher than anybody. It's the most dangerous jump he's ever attempted. Plus, across the Strip at the Rio, an amazing comeback story. Rhys Millen will try to fulfill a promise he made while broken and battered on a hospital bed a year ago. Tonight, two extraordinary athletes take their ultimate test, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It all unfolds next as we ring in 2009, a new year with no limits. We welcome you to Red Bull New Year No Limits from Paris, Las Vegas, at the heart of the Strip. And tonight, you can see it right there, is jam-packed with people ready to say hello 2009. Good evening to you, everybody. An early Happy New Year. I'm Joe Tessitore, and thanks for spending your New Year's Eve with us. ESPN, the place to be tonight. Tonight, Robbie Madison and Rhys Millen stand opposite two worthy opponents, height and gravity. This will be a New Year's you won't forget. All part of our coast-to-coast coverage, from Vegas to parties in 10 cities across the country to New York's Times Square. We're going to count down to 09 with the ball drop from New York. Now, if you remember our show from a year ago, you know why there's so much anticipation for tonight. Last New Year's Eve, on a cold night here in Vegas, Robbie Madison made history. Rhys Millen never got his chance. The fact that Rhys is even walking today is a testament to his drive and determination, and a little bit of luck. In his final truck flip practice run for last year's New Year's Eve show, he overshot the safety boxes and crashed, nearly killing him. 1 year later, he's ready for his shot at redemption. So it ended up that on December 31st of 2007, it all belonged to motocross star Robbie Madison, who was out to jump further than anyone before, trying to soar through the Vegas night over a football field. He jumped 322 feet, a record-setting performance that cemented his reputation as one of his sport's biggest stars. Now tonight the stakes are even higher. Robbie Madison will attempt to jump onto the Arc de Triomphe. It is a replica of one of the most famous monuments in the world. And the Arc here in Vegas stands 96 feet tall. So that means Robbie will have to jump up and land on a 10-story building. And the toughest part may be getting down. Now, we have you covered with two locations. 4 reporters, Nichelle Turner and Cam Steele, are at the Rio for Rhys's backflip. Jamie Little is right here on ground level to cover Robbie Madison. And with a view high above the Strip, unlike anyone else, is Tess Sewell, who is Robbie's technical advisor, the guy who designed this course. And Tess, a lot of people are probably watching this show right now saying, I cannot believe that Robbie Madison is going to attempt to do this, jump to the top of the Arc. Just how dangerous is this jump, Tess?
Well, Joe, fans of the X Games know motorcycle high jumping. It's called step up. At the X Games, the world record is 36 feet. This jump is about 3 times that height. What Robbie's going to do is he's going to start down at the Las Vegas Strip. He's going to ride up to a 35-foot tall ramp. He's going to jump up about 100 feet tall, and he's going to land here on this roof, and it's only 40 feet deep. But that's the easy part. Once Robbie gets up here onto the roof, he has to concentrate and focus, because now comes the jump down. And I'm going to hang on to this thing because it's so scary. You take a look over here, and you can't even see the landing. It's at least 60 feet to the sweet spot. So you ask, where is the Superman who's going to attempt this feat? Well, he's 10 stories below me with our very own Jamie Little.
Well, Tess, and to think that it was all Robbie Madison's idea. He thought this up. He created it. You remember 1 year ago, he etched his name in the history books with the world watching. Robbie, why do it again? Why tempt fate again?
I don't know, Jamie. I've always just challenged myself, from the first time I jumped on a BMX bike to last year jumping the football field. It's always just been what's going to inspire me to get up early and train hard and live life to the fullest. And this is an idea that really got me excited all year, and I've been trying to hold it back, but now we're here, and I'm so excited to risk it all and go for the gnarliest jump that I've ever done.
Robbie, the last 20 minutes, you're walking up here, you're smiling, you're talking to Travis Pastrana and all the other athletes that are here. Are you really feeling as calm as you seem?
You know, the calmness has definitely come over me. It's weird because last night I couldn't sleep at all. My heart was pounding through my chest, and you know, my body definitely knows that things could go drastically wrong here, but I've been training hard, and I got all my good friends from Temecula here supporting me, some friends from Australia, so it's a special night, and I don't want to mess it up for anything.
Robbie, we look at this behind us. I talked to you last night. You said this is the first time ever you have never practiced on a jump that you're going to do. How does that feel right now?
Yeah, that's what's really rocking my shell right now, is knowing that I've never hit this jump. You know, it's whether it's going to be the same as the practice or not, I don't know. So we're about to find out.
All right, Joe. Well, we're going to be following Robbie Madison around, checking in with him periodically and speaking to him before he attempts the biggest jump of his career.
Yeah, Jamie, it's rocking a lot of shells here just looking at that ramp. Now, before Robbie takes the biggest leap of his life, his friend Rhys Millen will try to fulfill one of the great sports comeback stories of the year. With more on Rhys, let's head over to the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino and say hello to Nichelle Turner. Good evening, Nichelle.
Hey, good evening, Joe. You know what Robbie said, risking it all. So true for both of these athletes, because last year, the Rio was supposed to be the site of Rhys Millen's moment of triumph. He spent most of 2007 trying to accomplish what no one else had ever done, pull off a 360-degree flip in a truck. But it was an accident in his final test run before last year's show. It nearly killed him, and he spent last New Year's Eve in a hospital bed. We're going to have much more on that story a little bit later on, but first, if you don't know Rhys Millen, well, you should, but if you don't, here's a closer look at this talented 36-year-old New Zealander, one of the most experienced and respected drivers in the world.
I'm wrong. Should have done better than this. Show me what I'm looking for. Save me, I'm lost. Oh Lord, I've been waiting for you. I'll pay any cost. Save me from being confused. Show me what I'm looking for. Show me what I'm looking for.
Rhys Millen back and better than ever and ready for redemption. You know, driving is in Rhys's blood. His father, Rod, is a famous rally and off-road racer, and he started Rhys Millen Racing at the age of 21. So with more now on how Rhys is actually going to flip this truck tonight, we're going to turn to my main man, Rhys's friend and fellow driver, Cam Steele. What up, Cam?
Well, Nichelle, I'll tell you what, Rhys Millen is going to do something tonight that all of us as race car drivers always try not to. He's going to invert his race vehicle. That's right, a backflip in a truck. Sounds crazy, but with Rhys, anything is possible. Such a great driver, and he's going to have some assistance. First of all, he's coming into the ramp at 35 miles an hour. Not that impressive. A gap, approximately 30 feet. Really not that impressive. What is impressive, he's all going to do it upside down. This is the ramp he's going to take off from, about 45 degrees as he heads up. Then it has a mechanical kicker at the top, which will release after the front wheels hit it and let the rear end drift through for the backflip he's going for. I can tell you what the angle is at the top, but then I'd have to kill you. That's a top secret that Rhys Millen Racing is keeping close to their heart. Let's go back to Joe over at Paris.
Yeah, Cam, he takes that very serious there. Well, we're just getting revved up on Red Bull New Year, No Limits. Still to come, what motivates athletes like Rhys to take on these challenges? Plus, Rhys's story of redemption.
The impact was so violent that it literally knocked the wind out of me. I could not do anything but gasp for air.
And we're ready to ring in 2009 coast to coast across the country. The Times Square Ball will have it for you, plus our parties all over the place, like this one at Cipriani's on Wall Street in New York. Stay with us. Red Bull New Year No Limits is brought to you by Sony PlayStation 3. Entertainment Unleashed. We welcome you back to Red Bull New Year No Limits. Look at the crowd. We are not far away from 2009. And when that moment arrives, we will show you the ball drop live from Times Square. 300,000 anticipated to be here on the Strip. And they all want to be in front of us here for Red Bull New Year No Limits. You can see the scene in Times Square. We're celebrating with you here in Vegas and all across the country with New Year's Nation. We have a 10-city coast-to-coast party that's connected online. Well, for Rhys Millen and Robbie Madison, the parties can wait. Right now, they're going through their last-minute preparations. So let's bring back Jamie Little and Cam Steele. And Cam, you're a competitive driver, but for the average person watching, they're probably thinking, why would anybody do this? What exactly pushes guys like Robbie and Rhys to take on challenges like this, Cam?
Well, to be the best at any sport means you have to raise your game above everybody else. Whether it's the fastest 40 or the longest drive, guys like Rhys and Robbie are at the top of their game, and they're doing something that no one else can or is willing to do. They are proving they are the best in their particular sport or discipline, and they're going out on a limb to prove it in front of the world. You got to give them mad respect, but at the same time, that's why they do it. They're reaching out to grab something that no one, including you and I, would even think of doing, especially people at home on the couch. You're riding the couch. They're out here doing. That's why they are great athletes.
That sums it up very well, Cam. Now, Jamie, you have covered Robbie for the better part of the last 2 years. You know what makes him tick. I mean, what's the one characteristic that makes him such a unique athlete, Jamie?
Well, I'll tell you what, he grew up in Australia and he idolized Evel Knievel. Everybody's heard of Evel Knievel right here in Las Vegas, but he worshiped this guy. But what makes Robbie Madison different is he is an athlete. He's not a stuntman. He grew up racing motocross. Then he came to America, he started competing in freestyle motocross, and now he's found his niche, breaking world records. Basically, anything and everything Robbie Madison does on two wheels has been a success, and that alone motivates him to push the limits and be the best there is.
Guys, there's one word that we hear often when it comes to these two, and it's fearless. Are they truly fearless, or do they have fear that motivates them? Cam?
I'm not going to say that they're fearless, but they've learned how to control their fear, and I think the fear they have is respect of what could happen if things went wrong. I don't think they fear what they're getting into. I think they fear the possibilities, but they respect it, they grasp it, get a hold of it, and then they conquer it. They go out and do. No fear involved.
Jamie, what do you think? Is Robbie fearless, or does he have fear?
He's certainly not fearless. And, I watched him when he got here. He went to the top of the arc, and his heart was pounding. He didn't even want to look over the edge. He couldn't believe how high he was. Yes, he does have fear, but what motivates him and makes him so good is everything he does is calculated. Remember, this whole jump was his idea.
It was indeed. He dreamed it up. Well done, guys. Came here to Vegas. He searched out the perfect building, and he found this, the Arc. Now, there's the Rio across the Strip, and with more on Rhys Millen, let's go back to Nichelle Turner.
This is going to be a big night. Thank you, Joe. Rhys is doing his last-minute preparations. He's getting ready for his big flip tonight. Now, we have been calling this whole thing his redemption, and here's why. Last year in practice, after nailing the flip several times, all Rhys wanted was one more rep. One more flip, one last confidence boost heading into ESPN's show last New Year's Eve. And it was that one time, that last attempt, well, that's when things went terribly wrong.
As I left the ramp, I knew something was wrong instantly. And then came the impact. I never blacked out. I felt everything. It actually pile drived me head first into the ground.
Keep his head straight. Keep his head straight. Don't move his head. Don't move your head. Don't move your head.
The biggest moment of fear that I had was when I could not breathe. The impact was so violent that it literally knocked the wind out of me. I could not do anything but gasp for air. Fuel was pouring over me, and I'm just in there making this moaning noise like I'm in some sort of seizure.
Get the steering wheel out. Okay. Let go of the steering wheel. No, it's just rounding.
Injuries that I sustained were 3 fractured vertebrae in my neck and 2 broken and compressed in my back.
It was actually an amazing recovery. he was very lucky. I think we all expected him to be on his back for a long time, and it was really 2 weeks and he was walking around. I think the reason that Rhys is doing this again, he's not going to give up until he gets the result he wants.
I put so much energy into this. To give up on it, being so close, would probably be the biggest disappointment of my life.
And the man himself, Rhys Millen, joins me here in the Red Bull Hospitality Center. And Rhys, the obvious question, why come back after the accident? Why get back in the truck and do this?
You know, this is something that I proposed to Red Bull. It was a concept that I came up with. I designed the ramp. I have a great crew that took on the build of the truck and the ramp. And to come so far last year, to invest so much time and effort into it and to fall short of our mark, we're back here this year to conquer this.
After the accident, how many people did you hear it? I told you so. I told you it couldn't be done. A little bit, you want to come back and prove it to them?
You know, for sure, a little bit of that. Lose the doubt in some people's mind, but, you know, I believe in myself. My crew believed that we could pull this off. Again, we were so close, and we feel comfortable. We're prepared. We'll get our numbers right, and we'll tee up on this bad boy.
I have a lot of faith in you, Rhys. A brand new truck. You've got to really enjoy the fact that all the changes that you made seem to be working perfectly.
It really has. You know, this year has been so different. We almost, not that I wanted to get injured, but I almost needed the accident to occur to not so much look at it as a disappointment, but as an advancement, a learning curve. We've done 7 practice jumps this year into foam box pit style landing ramp. Never done it ramp to ramp. This is going to be the first time ever it's done. It's witnessed as a backflip and first time ramp to ramp.
Awesome. Well, I have a lot of faith in you, Rhys. I know it's going to go great, and we're all looking forward to it. And more jumping other than Rhys, of course. Robbie Madison still to jump later tonight. Let's head over to Jamie.
And I'm joined now again by Robbie Madison as he watches on what's going on with Rhys Millen. Robbie, you and Rhys became good friends 1 year ago with this event. You saw what happened to him. What is his mental state like right now?
Well, he's a Kiwi, so I don't know, but no, Rhys is, I mean, I can understand where he's at. You know, you set a goal for yourself and it gets torn away from you, and to have the courage to come back and do it again, I mean, I respect him. I understand what he's going through, and I'm really rooting for him here. I want to see him, you know, land this safely and be able to tick it off his list. The monkey's been on his back all year, so it's absolutely incredible what he's doing. You know, to see a truck upside down flipping, it's I just still can't believe that he's about to do it. So I'm a big fan of his, and I'm wishing him all the best over the street at the Rio.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on Robbie Madison. You can't tell right now the way he's smiling, but we're going to sit back and watch Rhys Millen as he attempts the first ever backflip.
Thanks, Jamie. All eyes here on the strip focused on Robbie Madison and the Arc de Triomphe. And we want to show you, as Rhys makes his final preparations, what is a virtual reality image over the live picture of the Arc de Triomphe as to what the jump should look like. There goes the virtual reality Robbie, 100 feet into the air and then off. Can he do it? The most daring jump Robbie's ever attempted, and on the biggest stage of his life. But before that, we're going back to the Rio. Rhys Millen's backflip. He's going to try to complete the remarkable comeback tonight. Plus, counting down to 2009. We'll be at Times Square, and this, one of the hottest parties of all, going on in Philadelphia as our party across New Year's Nation continues right here. Stay with us. More to come from Vegas. When Rhys lands his truck, he'll be subjected to more than 200,000 pounds of force. Think of what it feels like when you're sitting on an airplane and it lands on the runway. Now multiply that by 300. That's the force Rhys will experience when he lands his truck. Welcome back to Red Bull New Year No Limits. I'm Joe Tessitore. Great scene here at Paris, Las Vegas. About 2,500 miles away from the Vegas Strip, of course, is Times Square. And they're getting set to usher in the new year. We'll take you there live for the ball drop right here on ESPN. Plus, we'll sneak you behind the velvet ropes at New Year's Nation parties across the country. And, of course, here in Vegas, Robbie Madison, Rhys Millen, they are focused on their goals. And we've been with both athletes since this afternoon. Let's listen in on Robbie's preparations.
And then I ride up to the edge and just take a glance over there.
Okay.
And then I'll ride around, get into third gear, do a loop, and then I'll come back over, and then I'll just ride off.
I'm now joined by a guy who knows what these two are going through right now. Rally car racer, one of the most famous motocross athletes in the world, Travis Pastrana. Good to have you with us here tonight at Paris, Las Vegas. Hey, you've crossed over into both worlds of these athletes. Rhys's peers, those that are in that side of the sport, what do they think of what he's doing tonight?
Oh no, Rhys is, one of the world's top drivers. He's a national champion drifter. He's a top rally car driver. These guys are experienced, top level drivers, and he's pushing the envelope. I mean, that's what Red Bull's all about, coming out here and trying to do stuff that's new. Man, utmost respect for Rhys.
What about considering what he went through last year? To face what knocked him out, he went through the crash, he was in the back brace for 4 months, but he made a promise to himself to overcome this and to get back in it. How impressed are you with that?
Oh, very much so. I mean, Rhys is an amazing driver, but he has to rely on mechanics as well to get this stunt completed. It's a backflip. No one's even thought about that. I mean, when they first did it on a motorcycle, it was like, this is impossible. He's trying it in a truck, and he's got to rely on some mechanics. He's got to go for it, and, it's not 100% up to him, but he knows that he's going to do the best that he can. He's got faith in all his equipment. Red Bull has set him up with everything that he could possibly have, and you know what? He was more disappointed last year than I've ever seen him in his entire life, and he is gung-ho and ready to, push the limits. Let's get these sports out there. Let's do the best that we can, and let's put this on the map.
Travis, talking about pushing the limits. I mean, look behind us right here. Just look at the pitch of that ramp. When you first got here to Paris, Las Vegas, and you looked at that, what did you say to yourself?
Robbie's crazy. No, I mean, Maddo, honestly, there's very few jumpers and riders that are both as skilled as Robbie Madison is, and as really ballsy to be able to do such an amazing stunt. I mean, you look at the ramp's 50 feet tall. He's got to jump another 50 feet up onto, he doesn't have much landing room, and then coming down is the scariest part. I mean, if he messes up, he dies, but he has the confidence, he has the ability, and he's had the training to make this work.
Well, this is a wonderful opportunity tonight for both of these sports, both of these athletes, to represent athletes like you and to take a major step forward, get a lot of mainstream attention. Do you think about the impact of what they could accomplish tonight on your sport?
No, I mean, definitely. The weight of the world is on both of these guys, and Rhys is the world's best at what he does. Robbie is the world's best at what he does, and it reflects on the sports. If these guys land it, this is huge. They know if they don't land it, if they mess up, I mean, they're not doing stuff that, you can mess up and get away with it. If you mess up, you're paying the ultimate price. So they both understand that. They're willing to take the risk, and they understand that they have the weight of the entire alternative action sports world on their shoulders, and I believe they're the best guys for the job, and I'm excited that Red Bull's given them all the opportunity to get out there. So it's going to be a great event.
Travis, thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your night. Happy New Year to you. Well, some things in life are very easy to flip. Coins, pancakes, a TV channel, don't turn yours. But a 2,800-pound truck, not so easy, especially when it's upwards of 45 feet above the ground. Here's how Rhys plans to pull it off tonight. Rhys will use about 150 yards to get up to that optimum speed of 35 miles an hour. He will launch from a 30-foot ramp angled at 45 degrees with a 75-degree kicker at the top. The kicker will push his front wheels up while flinging his back wheels around to rotate the entire truck around a center axis, like a foosball player. Rhys will only be about 5 feet higher than the ramp when the truck makes its 360-degree turn, but gravity and weight will cause the vehicle to hit the ground with 200,000 pounds of force, with the back wheels and the axle taking the brunt of the landing. So let's head over to the Rio and Nichelle Turner. Nichelle, what's the atmosphere over there now? Is it building with a little bit of anticipation as the backflip is coming up in minutes?
Are you kidding? Is it building? Absolutely. If you take a look, like right over my shoulder, I'm looking at this crowd out here at the Rio, and you can hear them. They're getting excited. There is not one person that is sitting back because they're all up against the fence. They all want the best vantage point for this flip. And speaking of the best vantage point for this flip, Rhys Millen is getting ready, guys. He is moments away from this. He's in his truck. He's ready. It's the last few moments before he's going to do this flip. And let's talk about this truck because he's in there now. This truck is not exactly something you can pick up at your local dealer. Yeah, he didn't have to worry about sticker prices and MSRPs like the rest of us. This is a custom-made truck made just for this jump. But you know what? Your car might actually have something in common with Rhys's truck. His has a 4-cylinder engine. Other than that, well, this one's one of a kind. It starts with a straight 4-cylinder engine mounted to the right side of the vehicle to counterbalance Rhys's own body weight. The compression springs are also offset to keep the truck from corkscrewing when it gets airborne. There's 900 pounds of pressure on the left side and 650 pounds on the right. This keeps the torque of the engine from spinning the truck horizontally. The roll cage and safety harness have been fortified, and Rhys has installed a foot brace to keep him from inadvertently flooring the gas pedal upon takeoff. Rhys will ultimately rely on his ears and the sound of the engine to know how fast he's going and when the truck is fully rotated for the landing. All right. So tonight, emotions running high, but not just for Rhys, it's for all of his team, many of whom were there to witness his crash in the desert last year. Tonight's a chance at redemption for all of these guys as well. Cam Steele now is with Rhys's team manager and one of the people that's closest to him, Eric Cantori. Cam?
Well, thank you, Nichelle. And there's anticipation all over here at the Rio, but a calm has fallen over the Rhys Millen racing crew. And Eric, you've got to be nervous as he belts into the truck and gets ready to do this.
We are a little bit, but we know we're prepared. So, it makes it a lot easier to be going after this type of stunt, when we're all prepared. So I think we'll be all right.
That's one thing definitely I've seen from you guys. Very well prepared, very calm all the way around. We just saw a piece about the truck. Lots of differences from the old truck. What do you think the biggest key is here?
It has to be the 4-cylinder motor and being centrally placed. It really helps the rotational mass be much quicker so he can complete his rotation faster and not have to worry about it coming closer to the landing ramp.
He was jumping in a V8, the rotational mass, a problem. I want to ask you about the run-in. We're going to see Rhys take some run-ins. He's going to go up onto the ramp to feel it out. How important is it that he hits the ramp completely straight? He can't go off axis a bit, can he?
No, definitely not. We want him to be as spot on as he can be, and he has been in all the practice runs, so we don't expect anything different.
Thank you, Eric. I don't expect anything different. Rhys has been spot on no matter what he's doing. Rally, drift, off-road, flipping a truck. Why not? Let's go back to Nichelle.
Hey, thank you very much, Cam. They are prepared, they are ready, but you have to know they're probably very nervous about this jump tonight. His entire family. You're looking at his wife, Presley, right now, who is about to watch her husband attempt the toughest jump that he has ever tried. In just a few moments, you're going to hear from Rhys Millen. We will go one-on-one. But first, let's head on back across the strip to the Paris now and say hello to Joe. Hello.
Hello, Nichelle. We got minutes left to go before New Year's 2009. We got a huge crowd on hand here in Vegas, right next to the Miracle Mile shops. Estimated over 300,000 out on the strip here tonight. We are at Paris, Las Vegas, getting set for Robbie Madison's leap of a lifetime. He has been making his final preparations to jump the arc. And there he is with his fiancée, Amy. They are watching Rhys Millen get ready because the moment has arrived for Rhys. When we come back, he will attempt his backflip of a truck at the Rio. That's next.
I'm throwing rocks at your window.
Rhys will have only a 6-inch cushion on either side of his launch ramp. That's less than the size of your remote control. And the same size as 2 baseballs side by side, a hot dog, or 1-piece apple pie. Not a lot of room for error. And not as easy as apple pie. Welcome back here to Sin City. I'm Joe Tessitore, and you're watching Red Bull New Year, No Limits. Vegas, all about the spectacle, and tonight is no different. The scene here, electric. You can feel that energy, the anticipation, the excitement, just like what's happening in Times Square, where the revelers are getting ready for the ball drop. 24 minutes to East Coast New Year's Eve. Going to ring in 2009 with them live from the heart of the Big Apple. There's a scene right now. We will count down and have the ball drop right here on ESPN. Now here in Vegas, the time is now for Rhys Millen, the 36-year-old, originally from New Zealand, who's been living in California And truly one of the greats in his sport, dominating as a drifter worldwide, long been a precision stunt driver for various Hollywood projects, but now the ultimate redemption. Last year, he crashed in his final practices in December of '07 and was seriously injured trying to become the first man to successfully backflip a truck. Now he's back at it, and Michelle is standing by with his wife, Presley.
Yeah, I'm here with his newlywed, Rhys Millen. Now, Presley, after his crash, he did say to you, I'm not going to do this again. Did you really believe him?
You know, I did at the time, and the fact that he's doing it again just proved to me how important it was for him to complete this mission. And once I realized that, I was on board and wanted to support him 100%. So it's an exciting night, and he has my support, and I'm fully confident.
Now, you seem very calm, but you got to know inside there's got to be some butterflies. How are you right now? You're about to see this.
I'm very nervous, but actually since we've gotten to the location tonight, I'm pretty calm, I'm fully confident, and I think it'll work. And I would also like to take this opportunity to say thank you, Bill Lockhart and the Orange County Fire Authority. You guys are my heroes, and you've helped me so much through this, so I just wanted to say that. I hope you're all listening.
I love that. Does this get any easier, though, watching this?
Every jump is nerve-wracking, but every jump I also get more confident. And after our practice session, I feel great about it.
All right, she feels great about it, guys. She's a rock. I'm a bit of a wreck. We'll send it back to you, Joe.
Oh, she sounds good for now. We will see. Let's bring in Cam Steele. Cam, talk to me about the sequence of events that we're seeing right now. What is Rhys going through? How is he getting ready for these final moments before the attempted backflip?
Well, as a driver, what he's done, first of all, he's come out and he's warmed the truck up. He's done some sliding around. He's done some hot sections. And basically what he's doing is making sure it's good and warm. It is cold out. And right now what he's doing, he's lining up with the ramp. You talked about he only has a gray area of 6 inches on each side. He has to hit it perfect, not only because he might go off the side of the ramp, but if he hits it just a little off center, if he's turned just a bit, it could send the truck into an off-axis flip. He could start spinning to the side while he's flipping. Very dangerous, and right now what he's done is he's lined himself up, looking for a comfortable spot, and right now I think we're very close to time to see this thing go down.
Could this be it? He's gone through the speed runs. He had the roll-up to work on that lineup that Camp detailed. Remember, the kicker at the end of the ramp a year ago caused the reaction that forced his foot to hit down on the accelerator. That caused the crash. He's tweaked, he's worked, and now the moment has arrived. Rhys Millen against the opponent that knocked him nearly out of his profession.
Well, Joe, he's backed it all the way into the starting gate. I think this is going to be it. He came by and gave me the thumbs up earlier, and that is one of the signs that he is ready to go. I feel like this is it.
There it is, the thumbs up for Rhys Millen, trying to become the first to attempt a backflip in a truck. The scene from inside the truck. He was able to backflip, but as you saw, the landing, not a perfect success, as he is immediately being tended to by the crew.
And Joe, I can tell you one thing that Rhys told me prior to the jump, before getting into the truck today. The truck had been set up to jump and take off. They had never landed anywhere but in the cardboard boxes. There was no rebound dampening in the truck. So what you saw was the truck landed and bounced and then tipped over again.
And what we're hoping to see here is Rhys Millen emerge from this situation now. So the backflip conducted, and there he is. He made a promise to finish what he started. But as you said, Cam, you cannot practice that. You can practice into the cardboard boxes, but the unknown was what would happen when the landing had to be stuck on the dirt and the asphalt here in Vegas. And what a relief that must be for his wife, Presley. They were married on October 25th. She was through him thick and thin last year, 4 months in a double back brace. There was concern if he could walk again, let alone ever get into the truck again. A year ago, he wasn't able to walk away from that attempt, and now he joins Nichelle.
Now, I just saw you say, Rhys, what a bummer.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I don't know. It all felt good. Maybe it just felt too good to do 7 jumps in practice that were within 2 feet, no twist in the truck, no nothing. And to have that disappointment happen just then is, I just can't put it into words.
We saw that, though. That flip was amazing. I mean,
yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing unless you drive away.
Can you explain what happened, or could you feel something different?
You know, I really don't know what happened. I'd have to analyze some video. The speed looked right. The fact that it came down at the right angle, it just had twisted to what might felt the driver's side. I'm not too sure. It's too much effort to fall that short.
Well, the fact that you're standing here, you're good, and you're talking to us, we like that. Cam Steele, what do you think?
Well, I think Rhys is exactly right. It looks like he went a bit off access, a little bit of a twist to the side as he went off, not just as he went off the top of the ramp, but when he started to come around. Let's take a look. Execution coming in. He's trying to follow the dotted line that he has on the concrete, pops it off the top, and it looks like maybe one wheel might have hit just a little earlier. As he drops down, you can see how the off access isn't working. 2 things are working against Rhys here. Let's take a look as he goes up and hits. Hard to tell from that angle, but it looks like you can see the truck is already twisting just a bit as it goes off the top of the ramp. Everything worked perfectly, it looks like, with the ramp. And let's take a look at the top. Looks like maybe he caught it just at a bit of an angle. I can't tell for sure, but the things I'm talking about being a problem as we go on board with Rhys. The rotation looked perfect. The 2 things that he has a problem with on the landing, because the truck is not running when he lands. It's a carbureted truck. It stops running while he's upside down. If it was running, he might have had a chance to get on the throttle and try to drive out of it as the wheel hit. Also the rebound that we talked about, a violent hit, a violent impact, but Rhys able to climb out safely. And there, the look from far back, it almost looks like the right side impacts the top just a second early. And you can see the wheels were just turned a hair. Maybe he's trying to compensate at the top. A violent roll, but the truck is designed for that. Rhys Millen out, able to conquer the backflip, but not able to drive away from it. Disappointment in this New Zealander. I know he'll be back to try another day. Let's go over to Joe at Paris, where Robbie still awaiting his time to jump.
Well, Cam, I'll tell you made a good point there, talking about the 200,000 pounds of force when Rhys's truck hits the ground. So he was able to make the backflip, but unable to land it and ride it out successfully. And he's such a perfectionist and the ultimate professional at what he does. And you heard him say to Nichelle that it's nothing unless you drive away. Maybe to Rhys, but the courage that he showed there, give lots of credit to Rhys Millen for even getting back in that truck and making that flip. So we got 1 flip down and 1 giant leap to go. The crowd here watching on the big screen when Rhys completed his flip. Now it's Robbie Madison's turn. And a year ago, Maddo made history with the furthest motorcycle jump of all time. Tonight, he has a chance to jump higher than any man before him. He'll attempt a leap of 100 feet to the top of the Arc de Triomphe, then turn around right off the ledge, free falling to a return ramp. So who is Robbie Madison? Well, we know this. He's an Aussie who fears very little.
After jumping last New Year's Eve, just here in Las Vegas, I reached the highest height of my career.
Robbie Madison has jumped further than anyone ever.
I started thinking right after, what I could do next. When I started thinking about, what I did last year was like a lot of speed and, just threw me a long way, a football field. This is pretty much it's a world first, a one-off, and I'm going to jump my motorcycle onto the roof of this building right here.
He's like, Ames, I want to jump onto the roof of the building. Went out to Vegas and scoped out some buildings, and he come home, he's like, we found it. I'm going to jump 100 feet onto the roof of a building. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
At even 8 years old, I'd build jumps in the front yard of my house, and as soon as I jump it, I'd make it bigger, and it's just something I've always done is ride bikes and jump stuff, and this is my dream. I just love this kind of stuff.
He just wants to be the unique one that they remember in time.
When Robbie came to me with this idea that he wanted to jump on a building that was 96 feet tall, my first thing was, how's he going to practice? I didn't think it was crazy. I was more concerned was, how are we going to get him to practice? The idea came out where I'm building a roof system the same as what we're going to be doing in Vegas.
No matter what angle you have, whatever speed you hit at, you're going to go a certain height, and controlling that slide is the hardest part. The highest for a step up is 35 or 33 or 34 feet. This is 3 times that. We're just taking it to a whole new level. The problem is, when I'm up there, things only half over. I got to get down, and that's the one part that's really frightens me the most. Into my RC cars at the moment. I took it out with me. I thought it would be cool just to see the RC car jump up the jump. Because what I found with the car is it really reacts a lot like a dirt bike. Coming down, when the car hit the deck, it just bounced and it went all the way to the ground. So if I was to step off and not land in the transition perfectly and catch the knuckle on the edge, I'm going to get thrown straight over the handlebars and 100 feet to the ground.
Stepping down is like, it's just down. There's nothing you can do but just go for it. And yeah, I'm definitely nervous for him. I'll be praying my ass off for him, that's for sure.
Why do I do this? For so many reasons, man. I do this because I think it's important to seize every opportunity you can get in life, and if you walk through life and just pass up opportunities, who knows where you could have got to, If I got an opportunity to step on this building, man, I'm going for it. Doing the unthinkable, doing the impossible, risking everything. Now you're watching me.
We are all watching Robbie Madison. And moments ago, this was Robbie watching Rhys. Clapping for his buddy. Coming up, more Red Bull New Year No Limits from Vegas. Robbie's jump trajectory is what's known as an open plane curve, or a parabola. Think of Robbie and his bike as a bunker shot in golf. In order to get up on the green, Robbie will need to travel at a high angle and land precisely without much roll. Just like sticking a golf ball near the pin. Glad you're with us here. Joe Tessitore live from Paris, Las Vegas, at the heart of the Strip, next to the Miracle Mile shops, and we are inching closer to that ball drop in Times Square. We're going to bring that to you live on ESPN Plus. Your VIP passes to all the hot parties on New Year's Nation and right here in Vegas. Robbie Madison's turn to make the impossible possible as they are getting close in Times Square, just 6 minutes away. Let's show you one more time what Robbie Madison plans to do here in Vegas. That's a 10-story building, the Arc de Triomphe. There's a virtual Robbie Madison. Maddo gonna try to go 100 feet in the air, land on top, and then ride right off the ledge. There he is, contemplating, thinking about what's ahead of him. With more, let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, I'm down here in the compound with Robbie Madison as he looks on. He just watched Rhys Millen attempt his backflip. He applauded him, and he immediately walked over to his dirt bike, put his helmet on, and went out behind us. And what he did was some speed runs. And what that is exactly, he has cones set up. He knows exactly the distance he has before he hits the ramp. So he's warming up his dirt bike. Now he's going to hit that in third gear, and he's going to be about 54 miles per hour is what he's looking at. So in that speed run, Joe, he hit about 55 miles an hour. So he and his fiancée Amy gave the thumbs up as we're just moments away before it's Robbie Madison's turn.
Thanks, Jamie. Maddo may be one of the toughest athletes in the world, certainly one of the most talented. Tonight on New Year's Eve, he's once again stretching the boundaries of our imagination. When we asked him if he was more nervous heading into last year's distance jump or this year's arc jump behind us here, he said, "This one is aging me more." Here's why. The single most critical factor for Robbie's jump is his approach speed. If he travels the ramp under speed, the decreased velocity would cause him to impact on the metal and stucco structure of the arc. Conversely, if Robbie accelerates beyond the target speed, his velocity won't zero out in time, and he may overshoot the top of the arc. Another important factor is body position. If Robbie leans too far to the rear of his bike, this would cause him to flip over and land backwards onto the jump ramp. But if he leans too far forward, he could land on his front wheel and crash on the top of the arc. And on top of the arc is Tess Sewell, the man who designed this course and understands all the risk involved. Tess, way up there, 10 stories. Tess, what is the biggest risk, this concern with the jump up to the top of the arc?
Well, normally on jumps like this, one of the biggest risks is wind, and as you can see with this anemometer, virtually no wind tonight, which is a great miracle for Robbie. The biggest risk for him is not having enough speed on the up, and he strikes the front of the arch. But like we've been saying all night, though it's not for anyone to do, the up certainly seems like the easiest thing. Infinitely tougher is going to be the drop down.
If Robbie doesn't gain enough speed in the takeoff, he will fall short of his landing ramp. But if Robbie accelerates too much, he will overshoot the ramp and fall 10 stories down. Weight distribution is also critical. If Robbie leans too far forward, the bike will over-rotate and send him into a forward flip. If Robbie leans too much to the rear of the bike, he will under-rotate and fall backwards. All right, so we saw a lot of potential scenarios there. Tess, what's the one that really concerns you? What is most realistic that could happen with Robbie tonight?
The biggest scare here is if Robbie doesn't have enough speed coming off. You can see this white line he's looking for on the carpet. If he drops too short, he's actually going to hit the flat deck, and that's going to cause him to pitch over the front. Remember, it's at least 60 feet down to go to the sweet spot here. And from the top of the arc, you can't even see the landing. Look at that Red Bull logo. That's the landing. It's barely visible. Robbie's jumping off blind.
Well, Tess, we can't wait to see Robbie up there safely with you in a few minutes as we ring in 2009 with the jump of a lifetime, and the crowd here on the Strip is coming alive as we're just minutes away from New Year's on the East Coast. Tonight, we say goodbye to one of the greatest, if not greatest, years in sports. What a 2008 it was. We're going to have the ball drop with you right here to bring in 09. Of course, the Giants, the upset of the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and in March Madness, Kansas had that stunning comeback, and everybody thought the sure thing in 08 was Big Brown, but he fell short in the Triple Crown at the Belmont Stakes. He was defeated, of course. Tiger. What's a sports year without Tiger Woods? And he gave us a healthy leg, one of them at least, and a big win at the U.S. Open. And the NBA, with the Celtics restored to prominence, their 17th NBA championship, and 08 served it up well indeed. Federer and Nadal, just a classic. Remember that Wimbledon men's finals on that glorious Sunday that seemed to last all day long? And of course, come summertime, the focus was all on Michael Phelps, 8 for 8, the gold medals in Beijing. The baseball season, all season long, people wondered, would the Devil Rays stay there? But from worst to first, they went. We are getting ready for 2009, just moments away, as we bid 2008 farewell. And this is the scene from Times Square just a minute ago. And you saw Hillary Clinton and President Bill Clinton and New York City Mayor Bloomberg. They got the ball started on its descent. Nearly 12,000 pounds is the ball. A 12-foot sphere, double the size of previous balls. It is covered in over 2,600 Waterford crystals. Mayor Bloomberg and Hillary Clinton and President Clinton standing by. 10 seconds to go to 09. From all of us at ESPN, a very happy new year to you and yours. Always a great scene at Times Square. The two great American party cities on New Year's Eve, New York and Vegas. As the Clintons dance in the new year, and here we're gonna leap into it, Robbie Madison style. When we come back, Robbie Madison, a kiss for Amy now, and hopefully a kiss of success in a little bit as he will attempt to land and then free fall off the Arc de Triomphe here at Paris, Las Vegas. That is coming up. Stay with us. Robbie's jump here on New Year No Limits. Well, this was the scene just moments ago. Rhys Millen trying to backflip that 2,800-pound truck. He went up, he did the backflip, but disappointment came when he came crashing down on that back wheel. He did walk away from this, but he says it's not a success unless you drive it out. But still, a lot to be happy about as Presley and Rhys celebrate their new year, and a happy new year to them.
Go get him, Roddy.
The courage
Robbie,
that it took to just get back in there after crashing a year ago. Congratulations to Rhys Millen for giving us such a thrill in his dynamic story. A great comeback story in sports this year. Happy New Year, everybody. Once again, I'm Joe Tessitore, and if you're just joining us, welcome to Paris, Las Vegas, where thousands have packed the Strip tonight in anticipation of the biggest event on New Year's Eve here. And coming up in just minutes now, Robbie Madison will attempt to make history to land on top of a 96-foot tall Arc de Triomphe. It is a 10-story building, a replica of the one in Paris, France. And no one has ever pulled off a jump like this. Let's show you what his ride will look like tonight. It's going to start on top, and then it's going to come straight down and attempt to get to that 35-foot high ramp, 200 feet of in-run distance, and then that steep ramp, which will take him up 10 stories, he's hoping, has to go over 100 feet to the lip there. Land successfully, but that's only half of it. Everybody who's in the know says the most dangerous part comes next. When he goes to the ledge, and the only way down is to simply free fall 5 stories where hopefully he reconnects with the ramp. Of course, New Year's jumps are nothing new to Maddo. A year ago tonight at Rio, Robbie shattered the world record for the longest jump in history. You remember this? When he went over a football field on that crisp Las Vegas night. Speeds of 96 miles an hour and 322 feet. Successful indeed, but as Robbie's body can attest, these jumps don't always go so smoothly. Let's start at the top. Robbie has broken his nose, has had too many concussions to remember, torn off his bottom lip, and had most of his front teeth knocked out. Moving along his 5'10" frame, he has broken his neck, his right shoulder blade, 2 ribs, needed a bone graft on his left hip, and broken both collarbones twice. Robbie has also torn his scrotum and punctured his lungs twice. He has dislocated and snapped ligaments in both knees, broken his right leg, fractured his left leg, broken 6 fingers and both wrists twice. Robbie's 27-year-old injury-riddled body has been pushed to the limit, but that's the price for defying gravity.
Well, it certainly is. Robbie Madison, he's certainly been through a lot throughout his career. And now as the pressure mounts, you'll notice he has a little twitch. He's overcome Tourette's to ride. Everything's been good. He's had it his entire life. So don't worry when you see him out there before he rolls in. But Robbie, physically, you are a new man this year. You've taken on an extremely regimented workout program, a diet. You've lost 15 pounds, even went down a pant size difference. People at home may not understand how fit and how important it is to be for a jump like this. How important is it?
Well, to be honest, Jamie, the thing I've been worrying about most is the G-force I get at the bottom of the ramp here on the takeoff, and that's something that we didn't know that I was what it would feel like until we worked up to it, and it was only a week ago that I got to experience it. So I've been working really hard on my core with my trainer Ryan Hughes, and I have him to thank for my new body. I mean, I feel amazing. So my state of mind right now, I'm confident. I know this jump is gnarly, and I want to congratulate Rhys for his efforts and his big heart, and you know, I'm just going to give this thing all I got. I want to thank everyone here in Las Vegas and around the world for tuning in, supporting this, and my heart's with you all, so let's see what happens.
Robbie Madison, of course, ready. Dane Herron, technical advisor. You've been with Robbie through all the practices. You've seen the near misses. What is going to be the biggest challenge tonight?
I think the biggest challenge for Robbie is going to be just getting in the right frame of mind. You know, he knows what he needs to do, but it's been several days since he's been riding, and he hasn't done this in a very long time. And it's a new place. The weather's different. It's cold, and there's a million variables that play into this. You know, thank God the weather's good. That's the first thing. But for the most part, he's just got to get it timing, get the right speed, the right angle, right body positioning. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I don't think I've ever been this nervous in my entire life, but Robbie's the man. I think we're going to see something spectacular tonight.
Thanks, Dane. All right, Robbie, you ready?
I'm ready, Jamie. Let's do this.
Fire her up, Robbie. He's on a 250cc motorcycle, Joe. He's going to hit this jump in 3rd gear. Remember, he's looking at hitting about 54 miles per hour.
Jamie, he says let's do it. There are about 300,000 who agree. Let's do it. We will do it. When we come back, he's on the ground now, but he won't be for long. Maddo's revving it up. Stay with us. Robbie will be riding a modified Yamaha 250 with beefed up front and rear suspension and stronger wheels and spokes for the demanding takeoffs and landings. Robbie will be making the jump in 4th gear. To avoid having to shift on the launch ramp, he has added 3 teeth to the sprocket for extra power. The carburetor has also been rejetted for more usable power, and he has added heavy-duty front brakes for a quick stop upon landing. Robbie has installed heavily padded handlebars, equipped with a kill switch. Plus, he'll ride with extra foam cushioning near the seat. The seat and gas tank are covered with a sticky tape to literally glue his body to the bike, making him more aerodynamic and stable as he flies through the Vegas night. And he is ready to fly. A happy new year to everyone. Joe Tessitore and the crew with you here. Red Bull, new year, no limits. The pressure is now on Robbie Madison and, of course, his fiance, Amy Sanders. She must be feeling it. She's with our Jamie Little.
Yes, she has that look on her face. Remember going through this last year. She's been through a lot with her man, but your nerves right now. This is the biggest jump he's ever done. Amy, how are you holding up?
I can't keep it together. Honestly, I'm so nervous and so scared for him. I just want it to all be over and everything to be fine.
And one thing that people don't understand is you guys are a team. It's not just about Robbie jumping. You guys really are a team. You're by his side. He reminded you and asked you to tell him some advice today. What did you tell him?
I just told him to remember the little things of all the practice things that he's learned. So,
well, it's interesting because you told him it's not just one jump.
It's 2 jumps, so he needs to remember that and separate both of them.
She has the nerve. She's got the face. We're going to be watching Amy as she watches her future husband go for the biggest jump of his career. Joe?
Robbie has called Amy the backbone of Maddo. She's an ex-wakeboard champion herself, the love of Robbie's life, his best friend, manager, and they are a dynamic team. 27 years old is Robbie Madison. Moments away now from attempting to jump to the top of this Arc de Triomphe and then free fall back down. Let's check in with Tess Sewell. Tess, some final thoughts you have here as to what we're going to see in this process as he gets ready to attempt this.
Well, Joe, what Robbie's going to try and do now is make sure that with this colder weather, the bike is still going to get up to that 54 mile an hour, the magic number he needs to propel the bike over the lip and land on that sweet spot that we've been talking about all night. So a few of these runs are going to happen now. Robbie won't take the ramp, but hopefully he'll get up to the speed.
Tess, I'm sure there are some folks at home that say, boy, he's only going to be in the mid-50s for his mile per hour. Explain that to us. Why that speed?
Well, Robbie found out in the calculations that he can go at 54 miles an hour in 3rd gear, and it's basically 3rd gear wound right out, and that is what is going to get him up. So there's a lot of mathematics and calculations that go into this. He's not just some crazy motorcycle stunt guy that's going to huck himself up a ramp. Robbie knows what he's doing. He knows how to get up there. Now he just has to make sure the machinery is ready to achieve it.
Of course, Cam Steele is also with us. And Cam, you've been covering Robbie for the past couple years as well. What have you sensed as the week has gone on in his preparation for this jump?
Well, Joe, what I've really been looking at is the focus that Robbie has had. I mean, obviously very focused on the long distance jump last year, but he seemed a little freer in his thought. This time, I think he's been practicing, he's been thinking, he's been developing his situation. And I think this time he is more focused than ever. And he talked about his trainer, Ryan Hughes. For those of you that don't know Ryan, a championship motorcycle racer, a guy that has a lot of heart, dedication, determination, and he is also instilling the same thing in Robbie. So Maddo comes to this more prepared than ever, and what I see the difference is Maddo more focused and more tuned in than I've ever seen him before.
What a showman as he wheelies down the entire length of the 200-foot run-up ramp, that in-run distance to the takeoff ramp that goes 35 feet high, 42 feet long. And now what we will see here is a few speed runs. Tess talked about that optimal speed, and he needs to get it just right. There is no room for error tonight. The bike is a Yamaha YZ250. Weighs 220 pounds. And he's hoping to take that 220 pounds and crest it at about 108 feet up in the air to get over that lip. Tess, how many speed runs do you anticipate?
Well, really, it's how Robbie feels. He may do 3, 4, or 5. You saw there, he stopped next to his mechanic, Buddy Morgan, took a look at what the radar gun said. He's really now feeling it, too, because part of riding a motorcycle at this level is it's the noise the motorcycle makes. You know when it's going the right speed. You feel it. Robbie's trying to feel it too, but he's also wanting to check the numbers, so you'll see him make a few of these before he'll commit to the ramp.
His parents gave him his first dirt bike, and they bought him a new one every year. He's been riding since he was 4.5 years old. Jumping motorcycles. You saw all the injuries that he's dealt with through the years. In fact, he made a comeback from a broken leg suffered just in May 2007. That was before that distance jump that he pulled off on last New Year's Eve. And now, Tess, we see some communication with his team, Buddy Morgan and Dane Herron.
Well, Buddy looked pretty confident there. He looks happy. I mean, Buddy is the hardest working man in show business around here. He has to get that bike absolutely perfect. You have to think about the altitude. You have to think about how cold it is, because it all affects the miles an hour that bike will travel. But big smiles so far on Buddy and Dane's faces.
Another speed run as Robbie is trying to get it just right. Cam, we heard from Tess in terms of the optimal speed, but what about the mental preparation at this point with these speed runs? The last minute boost of confidence of knowing you have it right. How big of a factor is that?
It's a huge factor. One thing, Joe, I noticed is I saw the wheelies Robbie was riding. He actually got a nose wheelie as well. Mentally, it shows you that he's tuned in, he's feeling loose, he's feeling like he's in the zone. If he's willing to work with the motorcycle, pseudo playing around, it seems like he's more tuned in and ready to go. So if you saw him doing speed runs and he had that worried look, it would worry me, but seeing him loose and playing around,
a feat that only boyish imagination could dream up, now attempted by a well-prepared man who is fully aware of his dangers. Robbie Madison is saying, this is it. To the top of the arc, he wants to go.
Joe, I have to tell you, that was an absolutely perfect landing for Robbie Madison. He nailed that one. The sweet spot we talked about, he made it look so easy.
What more is there to say? Now comes what has been said to be the hardest part. As if 10 stories skyrocketing into the air isn't enough. The free fall back down. Here it comes.
Robbie was leaning out there. He was looking down, and the weight of that motorcycle alone would terrify a normal human being. But Robbie's so confident as he goes to the edge of that 100-foot drop. He's checking the bike is in the right gear. You can see him there, pushing up and down on the shifter pedal. Here we go.
He did it! Higher than anybody has ever gone before, and successfully returns.
Robbie Madison, you are the fucking man.
Robbie Madison, on his night of nights, has pulled it off. With his fiancée by his side, Amy, and Maddo has done it. 2 years in a row, New Year's Eve belongs to Robbie Madison. Tess, that was some impact after that free fall.
Joe, it was an amazing impact. He bobbled a little bit, and it looked like he was actually going to shoot towards those hydro barriers.
Look at that.
You can see how hard he hit there. Blood on the hand, but it doesn't matter. He made it safely back down to terra firma. I guarantee you, Robbie Madison will not be feeling that at all later on tonight.
He will trade a broken and battered and bloodied left hand any day of the week to now be able to put away the fears and back down safely to the ground. But that impact, he held on to the handlebars, and you saw it tore up his left hand, but he survived it and pulled off an amazing feat. Let's check in with Jamie Little. Jamie.
Tears in Robbie Madison's eyes I've never seen before. I know there's got to be pain. That is a serious gash in his hand that clipped his brake lever there. Robbie, though, let's think about what just happened here. What does this mean for you?
Let go. Fuck. Sorry. I mean, that was definitely a milestone in my life to overcome the fear that I've been dealing with, and what's been going through my head is amazing. But you know, it was hard to even bring myself to ride off the top there, but now it's all over. I'm glad I landed it, man. Hopefully that means something to some little kid out there and inspires someone to go big and live their life to the max.
How bad is that hand hurting right now?
The hand kills. I think I broke it, and definitely a gash that's going right to the bone. So, hey, wounds heal. I proved that one before.
Robbie, earlier in the show, I talked about you, and what sets you apart from stuntmen is that you are a true athlete. You have better bike skills than most people in the entire world. You just showed it. How did you save it?
I know how to save that. I got to owe it to my trainer for sure. You know, I've been riding a motorcycle since I've been 4 years old, and those little things, you can't plan for that. That's just subconscious. So, you know, it's just my life, and that just shows what dedicating to something does.
Everything you put yourself through, you put your fiance through, all of your friends. Are we going to see you back here next New Year's doing something else?
You know, who knows what the future holds. I'm just going to keep looking towards the future and just take each day and live the life to the max, and hopefully we do something big someday.
It's a huge night for Robbie Madison. He's going to get that wrapped up. I have a feeling he's going to get out and celebrate with all the fans out there. Let's take a look now at some replays. Quite a few to look at as Robbie Madison made it happen here at Paris.
Let's bring in Tess and Cam, and here's the step up 10 stories. Tess, was that exactly what you guys were looking for? Picture perfect on the way up?
Joe, I have to say it was absolutely amazing when he crested over the roof. We weren't looking at the monitor, just at where Robbie landed, and he nailed it. He could not have possibly landed that thing more perfectly than he did.
Another look as he crests about 108 feet up, dead center on the placement there, and braked it. Meanwhile, the reaction from Amy. What a relief, but that was only half of it, as Buddy and Dane had prepared him well. We'll give you more replay looks. We have the POV cam from PlayStation 3 as Robbie is taking in on the big screen here at the Miracle Mile shop looks of his own replays. That left hand will be tended to in a bit, but time to just take it all in here. Another look at Maddo. The 200 feet of the run-up ramp. The telemetry as you see us able to show you that crest, and then the free fall. Over 5 stories, well over 5 stories he went down, then to the base, 100 feet back down to the asphalt, and you saw that impact of the bike and the damage that it did to his hand, but it was able to keep control. Cam Steele, what did you think of the free fall down?
Well, when he rode off the edge, of course, all of us just frightened, unbelievable. You can see as he drops off, I think he knows right away he's a little bit long, dips the back tire down to try to grab the landing as soon as he can. A little bit long as he goes off, a little too much speed, and he does a masterful job holding the bike upright, keeping it together. It would have been so easy for him to get squirrely and throw it down, but Maddo being as strong and tough, both mentally and physically, he is able to hold together, although cutting his hand up, who knows what the injury is, but I'm sure at that moment, all I could think about was keeping the bike upright.
We want to show you that point of view camera from PlayStation 3 because it is a dynamic replay of this. Here it is, point of view, watch this. The free fall down. And that impact that tore up the hands. Can you imagine being on that with that view straight down? Meanwhile, Rhys Millen, who is so courageous with his backflip attempt, reacting to Robbie. And Rhys and his wife Presley so happy for their dear friend. You know, they have a dynamic relationship. They rib each other. One from New Zealand, the Kiwi, one from Australia, the Aussie. But they have such a respect and appreciation as athletes taking on these ultimate challenges. Maddo did it tonight. 27 years old.